like I said last week, I said that the volatility you've been looking for, you will see it last week, and then lo and behold, we saw the volatility coming into the market last week, and we have 5 interest rate decision last week coming from the euro, the Swiss franc, the US dollar, the Japanese yen, and the Australian dollar. And then the JPY exit their negative interest rate last week, so which tells us that the intervention might happen soon from the JPY, even though we are still seeing a sign of weakness. But on Friday there is a sign of strength in the Japanese yen, and then anytime you see USD JPY at that 150 to 151 level, just know that anytime the intervention might come on board, the BOJ might just come and do the intervention. So if you are still in JPY short, you just have to exit, because strength might actually come into that particular currency in a short while. So this week, what am I looking at on that JPY? I'm looking at strength coming in back to JPY, because they have exited their negative interest rate last week. And on the US dollar, the Fed left the rate unchanged in March. And when Powell was asked that, are you looking at the wages to be able to say that you want to cut the interest rate, he said what they are looking for is inflation. So which means that they're actually looking at the CPI and the PPI data to be able to make their informed decision, though there is a proposed 3 rate cut according to the Fed Powell, that is the Federal Reserve chairman, saying that there is a proposed 3 rate cut in 2024, which might actually start from June. But what he says is they are still looking at the inflation data, though their job data is going on well, and then their GDP is okay, which means that the economy is very good. But for the rate cut, they want to check more inflation data to be able to determine their rate cut. And then on the Swiss franc, we saw it declining last week after they cut their interest rate by 25 basis points, and then we saw that happen last week. So there's a lot of volatility last week. And then the US dollar bounce off this level we'll be talking about, that is at the TSY, bounce off this level and never come back to it, you understand? So and then it break this we talk about this too, this resistance trend line last week, and it break it and we test it, then reject to the upside, which tell us that we should look for more strength in the dollar this week. So my bias is dollar to the upside this week. So welcome to my YouTube channel. This is Ambafx, where I bring you the latest insights in the world of forex markets, that is the technical and the fundamental aspect. So if you are just joining us, do well to subscribe, like and share, and then do well to pay attention so that you can learn 1 or 2 things in this YouTube channel. So what are we now looking at on the individual currency? So before we check the individual currency, let's check the economic activities of next week. Although I don't think we have much next week, probably based on some US dollar consumer confidence and stuff like that. So let's check. Next week on Monday we have the consumer confidence on Monday, and then on Tuesday, Monday is the home sale. Monday is the home sale. On Tuesday we have the consumer confidence and then Richmond manufacturing index, and then Wednesday we have the AUD Australian dollar CPI, we have the FOMC member speech, and then on Thursday AUD retail sales. So we don't have much, but what we have is on the US dollar, that is we have the final GDP unemployment claims on Thursday, pending home sales on Thursday, and Friday we have the core PCE price index. So this is one of the inflation reports that Feds are looking at to make their informed decision. Probably maybe they will cut rates very soon. And then after that PCE price index, that is when Jerome Powell will speak. So probably he might speak according to this core PCE index results. So according to the outcome of this cost PC price index results. So let's see how it goes. Next week is a bit like boring news, but probably in US dollar it is a big one for the US dollar, because we'll see a lot of volatility in that particular currency. So just look for another volatile currency to pair it with, so that we can have a very good volatility in your trade. So on Friday too, we have a JPY Tokyo core CPI, that is a core CPI result from inflation results from the Japanese yen. So I think that's all we have next week, not that much. So let's go back to the individual currency and see. DSY, I'm still favoring the dollar to the upside, so which means that after we break this level and then we didn't see a new low from this particular level, which means that this level is a very strong support level, and then price bounce, break this one to retest and then bounce up. So I'm still looking next week we might see a little bit of a retracement, and then you see a breakout back to 105,996, and then if it breaks, then we should be looking for 107 to 68. So let's see how it goes. More strength coming into the US dollar index. That is any retracement to see that opportunity for it to look for a bullish setup back to 105,966. So this thing might actually happen so you can actually do this, which means that price might actually come back to retest this particular level, which means that you might see price coming back to this level, and then you see a rejection back to the upside. So this is what I'm actually looking at on the DSY. So moving on gold, if the DSY is strong, we'll have a decline in gold, and then if you put the piece of this puzzle together, you see that we have a rejection. It all started here, then we have a rejection at this area, another rejection, and then we've gotten a new rejection after we have this clearing out the stop loss at this area, because some people might have actually input their sell buyers from this candle and then open for it to reject, and then they clear their stop loss at this particular area and come back to close below that level. So which means that my bias on gold is to the downside next week. So let's see how it goes. So this is what I'm actually looking at on gold, which means that if price actually come back to this level, we'll see more of the downside back to this particular level of 2075. So this is where I'm actually looking at for price to reach on gold next week, this particular support level 2076, which means that we'll have a rejection to the downside from here, and then see price coming back to this level. So anything can happen at this level. We might have a bounce to the upside or a break back to 1975. So let's see how it goes right there. So I'm selling gold or do nothing next week. That is what I'm actually going to do, to short gold. And then if we now see price breaking this level, then I won't be doing anything on gold. But if we still see continuation to this downside, so I find my entry and then join the seller back to 2076. So on pounds US dollar, you can see that there is a break of this particular trend line, which means that the strength in the US dollar is showing, and the effect is actually showing on the GBP US dollar, because there is no new high at this level. I didn't create any new high. After this high, we saw this and then this, and come back to close below that particular low. So what I'm actually looking at is bounce to the downside. So we'll be selling GBP US dollar or nothing going to the next week. So probably we might see a retracement back to this particular level. Let's say a retracement back to this level, and then probably a rejection back to the downside. So I'm actually looking at because number one reason is if you check this trend line, it is slopey. So any slopey trend line like this, and we have a breakout, the breakout is always massive because price line up to the trend line too much, and then there is a breakout. So significantly we'll see price probably maybe retrace a bit and then reject to the downside. So that's what I'm looking at on the GBP US dollar. Going forward on the Euro US dollar, so what I'm actually looking at is if you check this level too, price then creates a new high at this, failed to create a new high here. Price failed to after it rejects, it fails to also create another new high at this particular area. So you're not even near this high, which means that sellers are actually in control of this market. So which means that here is a no trade zone for me here and then and this area. But if price break through this level to the downside, then I'll be looking for a move back to 1.06676. If this level break, then I'll be looking for a move to 1.05227. So that's what I'm actually looking at on Euro USD. On Australian dollar US dollar, I'm actually looking for a price to break out to this particular level to the downside, which means that I'm looking at the break of this level back to the downside with momentum back to this particular support level. So let's see how price reacts to that level this next week. So that's what I'm actually looking at on the AUD USD, because if you check this area, price reject at this area, we have a rejection and then it didn't create any new high there. So this is safe zone right there. If price break through this to the upside, I won't be doing anything on the AUD USD. But if you see probably price coming back to retest this level, just look for a breakout to the downside to 0.63102 moving forward, because there's a probability of this level break to the downside, that particular level break it to the downside. There's a high probability it will actually do that. And then on US dollar, Canadian dollar, looking for a bullish move, that is a move to the upside on this particular pair. So which means that if you see this one too, no new low was created around this area, which means that our buyers are actually in position, which means that any retracement you see is an opportunity for you to look for a bullish move to, let's say there is a retracement back to this level, then you look for a bullish move back to 1.38725. So that's what I'm looking at moving forward, that I might see retracement and then rally move to 1.38725 on SND card. And I told you guys last week that this is going to break out, and then we saw the breakout last week. And then any retracement you see is an opportunity for you to look for a bearish setup back to this significant support level, which sits at 1.79863. So this is it. Any retracement is an opportunity for you to look for a bearish setup back to 0.79863, because price has go below this particular level, and if there will be a retracement that is for a valid sell, price should not retrace above 0.8214. But if price retraces above 0.8214, which means that sell has been invalidated. So but for now the sell is still valid if price still stay below this area. The next one is Australian dollar, Canadian dollar, which means that price has actually broke this trend line to the downside with some momentum, and then it has actually went back to retest and reject. You understand, it's reject that particular level, and no new high was created at this particular area. As you can see, didn't create any new high, which means that you should be looking for a sell setup back to 0.87330, and if that level break, you should be looking for a sell setup back to 0.86001. So I'll be selling Australian dollar, Canadian dollar. I'll do nothing going to the next week. That is the buyers I have for Australian dollar. and Canadian dollar. Like we said on the US dollar JPY, if price is above the 150 level, and when you see something like 151 stuff like that, this is the intervention level of the Bank of Japan, 150 151 level. So and this level is a very strong resistance area moving forward. So if we now open to the 4-hour time frame, you see the double rejection at this particular area, which means that price actually creates a double top here, which still invalidates what we are saying, that price is actually rejected. So I'm actually looking at is US dollar Japanese yen to the downside, break this neckline, and that's what I'm actually looking at. Probably this might happen. And then another thing I wanted to see here is, after this eye was created, after it breaks this eye and this eye was created, this eye is a very, very strong resistance level that if price mistakenly break through this eye, if it's not a fake breakout, then you start seeing it going, which means that the JPY will actually crash. So, and I don't think Bank of Japan will actually want that. Another thing is that they just left their negative interest rate, so which means that they might actually come through with the intervention very, very soon, and their intervention might actually move things faster. So which means that I'm actually looking for a US dollar JPY rejecting from this level back to this particular level. So US dollar JPY, I'm looking for a sell setup on US dollar JPY next week back to 146 level. That is what I'm looking at there. On the Euro JPY too, you can see that price has break through this level. So I'm actually looking for a sell setup around this area, which might drag Euro JPY below this level. So this is my selling price, which means that if price break 160 563 to the downside, I will be shorting Euro JPY back to 153. This is what I'm saying. If price come here and we have a break of this level to the downside, probably might wait for a retracement and then sell back to 153.228, which means that this place might be valid as a double top here. You understand? So, and if this level now break, if you have a break of this level, then I'll be looking for a sell back to 140.491. So with Japanese yen leaving their negative interest rate is something that we should look into, that they might come with intervention and then strengthen their currency very, very soon. So you don't want to be at the other side of the move trying to capitalize on JPY weakness, because strength actually comes in, and history do repeat itself. Anytime JPY weak for some weeks or months, there's always an intervention that in a week or two might actually clear out all those weakness that you've been seeing, and you just see a lot of volatility coming back to the JPY. So you don't want to be at the wrong side of the move. So that's it. On SND JPY too, I will actually look for a break that will break this low, because anything above this low for me is a buy. Anything above this 89261 is a buy. If price still stay above this area, they should be looking for a buy setup. But if price now comes below this level, then should be looking for a sell setup to the downside. So this is the area I'll be looking at next week for a sell setup, for price to come below this particular area of 89261. And the last pair I want to check is Canadian dollar Japanese yen, and it has give us something to look into, because we have a very big momentum to the downside last week after this this big move to the upside. So I'm actually looking for a sell setup on the Canadian dollar, Japanese yen. I'm actually looking for a sell setup next week for price to come, probably retest this level, and then you might see a decline back to this that will break this level to the downside. So that's what I'm actually looking at next week. And then if you check this very well, you know, there is a very high momentum on Canadian dollar JPY to the upside that we actually saw that's been happening last couple of weeks. So I'm actually looking for a sell setup back to this support level right here. But if price now break through this and then we have a break to the upside, that's when I won't be trading Canadian dollar JPY. But if we still have price coming back here, then we have a rejection, which means that I'll find a sell entry back to 108,691. So guys, this is the weekly Forex forecast. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. So, and there is a link to a verified broker in the description box that you have to open. So they have a very tight spread, easy deposit, easy withdrawal, and all. So we have a very good Forex bot that has been making profit consistently for 8 months now without failing a week. So as you can see, let's show you the bot. This is 196%. The bot has made almost 196% since start of the usage, and you can see February it makes open of 12%. March we're having like 7.3%, and then last year August 27%, September 16, October 19, November 12, December 11. So this is the percentage gain for each month, and it's very, very consistent. So if you need the bot, you can actually DM me. I will tell you the criteria to get in the bot, but the minimum amount you can have to use the bot is $1,000. So guys, have a good trading week, and don't forget to trade safely.